Speeches are an incredibly hard thing to go through. You stand in front of an audience who may not know the background of your speech, and you have to talk to them without stuttering, without freezing up on your words, and without standing there all awkwardly. His speech is about something that is more emotional to you, or something that may have taken a toll on you, are even harder to present than just speeches about information. You have to stand there and try not to be emotional and want to get your point across without letting your emotions get the best of you. However, Ethan Quaid from Stanton did an amazing job at giving his speech without letting his emotions control him. His speech was about his grandfather, who was a soldier for the United States military, and he went off to war and came back, and he was completely different than what he had been before he left. And his grandfather soon developed cancer, and the cancer was bad enough that he did not make it. I feel like this speech was something that I could personally connect with because we all feel grief at some point in our lives, whether it's with a family member, a family friend, maybe even an animal or a childhood pet that you have. We at some point feel grief. And I personally can relate with it because I had a friend of mine who was about my age, and he was in a wreck, and the wreck was so bad that he didn't make it. So being able to connect on a personal level with someone else who has also felt that kind of grief was very, very kind of intriguing for me because I was able to relate with him on it. I was just listening to speeches for a while. Some of them, they were very good, don't get me wrong, but I didn't really connect with them as well as I did Ethan's when I found Ethan's. I realized that his speech was the one that I wanted to do just because his was so much easier to be able to relate to and connect with than some of the other ones. Um, I don't think it was too difficult for Ethan to talk about this. He seemed pretty pretty calm and very very prepared in what he was speaking. He talked about in his speech how he didn't cry before the funeral and didn't cry after the funeral. But during the funeral, where the people went and lifted up the casket, and the song that he played was the song they played while they lifted up the casket, and it was On the Wings of a Dove. And he said that in that moment, it was very emotional for him. And when he spoke about this in his speech, no, he didn't cry or get extremely worked up over it, but you could tell it was harder for him to talk about it than, something that would be much easier for him to talk about. Technical wise, this speech did have technicalities that were pretty great in my opinion. The lighting was good. You could clearly hear his voice when you spoke to him. He was in dress code. The camera was in a great position for him. But in a speech like this, I don't think that technicality is the thing that you need to focus on. It is more of, just speaking from the heart. You don't have to worry about, oh, was this good? Was this good? Was this good? It should be more of, could you understand the speaker? And did his point come across as well than what another speech would do? And I think Ethan did a great job at that. Preferably, I would love to listen to a speech like he did. He gave it, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't purely amazing, but he spoke from the heart. And that's something that intrigues me more than a perfect speaker ever would. Emotion is something that I feel like everyone should have in them when they're speaking or not, because you're able to bring the audience in more than if you're just monotoned and speaking perfectly. Overall, I think that Ethan did an amazing job on his speech, not only with the technical part of it, but with the actual emotion part of it. And I would love to hear him speak again soon.